Yeah, I guess I'll start. So if you know me, if you've been on some past webinars or the Facebook Lives, I'm Tameem. I'm the manager of the CSI team, we call ourselves, Community and Support. You probably recognize all our names. We're a small team, so you probably are used to dealing with us or the same names coming up. So lovely to see you guys again. I see some new names and some older ones, and it's really cool to see everyone from different parts of the world joining in. That's awesome. So hand it off to Katia.
Thank you. Hey guys, my name is Katia. I'm also on the community and support team, or CSI, as we like to call ourselves. You might also see me doing onboarding alongside Daniela. It's something we started recently, and it's been a lot of fun. But I overall am fairly new to the company. I've been here for, I think it's now 6 months. It's crazy how time flies. And it's just been a blast. We have an amazing team, and everyone's just so funny and friendly, especially Tameem. She's got all the jokes, and she's absolutely hilarious, as you probably already know from past webinars. And it's also lovely to just meet all of you guys. Yeah, I have script. It's definitely written in there. But it's also lovely to like talk to all the customers and talk to you guys and get to know you. And with onboarding, I've actually been able to see some of you face to face and hear your voice. So that's quite nice, and I'm loving that. Unfortunately, today I won't be able to hear you guys, but you can write anything you want in the chat. If you have any questions, comments, or any fun facts, go for it. We like to see it. But I think we're going to wait a little bit longer, team. Yeah. Or should we start?
Yeah, I think we're good. Now we're 5 minutes in.
Perfect.
Yeah, going.
Okay. I do apologize as well. I have my PowerPoint kind of half open, so I can still see the chats. So it might not be the full screen, but I hope you can see everything. So firstly, again, welcome everyone. To get to know one another, I just wanted to see what kind of retail businesses you guys have and manage and use inFlow for. So just type it out in the comments, because we'd definitely like to know.
Well,
I'm just waiting for anything.
Daniela is great from Roger, passing that on.
Is Daniela moderating with us, or is it Nuria?
Oh, yes, we forgot to introduce Nuria, which has been our moderator extraordinaire for the past few webinars. She's in the chats helping answer everybody's questions, and she'll take mark of everybody's questions so that we make sure we get to all the questions that come in today.
Cool. Joanne, Shopify, definitely covering that today, so that's fantastic.
Awesome.
Larry, electronics, cool. We can. There's probably a few things that we'll mention today that might be helpful.
So George,
oh no, George.
Lost sound connection. Is everybody else able to still hear us? I'm wondering if it's on your end.
If anything, we do have a recording, or we are recording this, and we'll post it afterwards. In case you want to rewatch it.
Awesome.
Okay.
It's really interesting to see how everyone's using inFlow. This is really awesome.
There's we're going to be going through a few different topics and tips and tricks. So you know, take what you can if it's helpful. Some of it might not be useful to your specific line of business, but it could be a feature that's used in multiple ways. So I'll get started. Again, keep posting, you guys. I'm loving this. Pilot shop, aircraft repair service.
Can you just make the slides a little bit larger?
Yeah.
So it's got the.
Is it still too small?
I think that's okay. Yeah.
I just want to be able to see the stuff going on in the background. So today's kind of agenda is we're going to go through a few different scenarios. So we're going to go through our standard retail workflow. And in that, we're going to be covering our retail mode, pick, pack, and shipping, some of the reports that you can generate at the end of the day, just some of the basic things you might need for your day-to-day. Then curbside pickup. That's something that's going to be quite useful, especially with today's day and age and everything that's going on. Then e-commerce stores, again, obviously selling online is big right now, and people love to shop online, so you got to market in every way. And then the last two are very specific. So subscription boxes and kits, and then selling on the road. We'll go through two specific user stories, and I'll show you how you would set them up in inFlow.
And I'm gonna just we just have a poll just to see, to gauge where everybody's at in terms of what kind of workflow is the most dominant. We're gonna go over everything, but this just kind of lets us know what we're working with. And Matt, I see your comment here. You're manually adjusting stock. We don't want you to do that anymore. inFlow makes it super easy to not, or to do it all automatically. So as we go through, if there's any areas that are of interest, extra, just let us know, because it's definitely something that inFlow can handle. So yeah, so the poll is out there, I believe. Please, forgot to press send, so it is out there now. So yeah, let us know.
Yeah, and I also do apologize. This is my first webinar, so I might be quite new at this. I don't see the poll, so I hope it's out there. Tameem is definitely helping with that.
I can see them coming in. E-commerce, on-the-go selling, a little bit of everything. So the numbers are adjusting as everybody's voting, but
cool. Yeah, I don't see any of that, but cool. I'll trust you. Okay, so moving on to our standard retail workflow. So the few things, like I mentioned earlier, I wanted to cover retail mode, which is one of our features. It's a setting that you can turn on to simplify your workflow in inFlow. This is quite useful for the brick and mortar stores, or the ones who are selling directly to the customers that day. Then we're going to go through how to receive orders, pick, pack, and shipping for the customers that purchase something either online or place an order and then you need to ship it to them. Then returns and credits, and reporting as well. So,
awesome. And we've got just an update for you. About 25% and 25% are brick and mortar and e-commerce, and 30% are on-the-go selling. So
fantastic. Yeah, so we'll be covering all that. Yeah. I'm glad I chose those topics then.
Yeah.
Tameem, do we have another poll as well?
We'll wait for a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, sounds great. Just wanted to double check. Okay, so moving on to the demo. I hope you guys can, let me just share my screen again.
Just getting up close. I also have a joke up here if anybody can answer it. While we get our up close. Waiting for us to get the slides up.
There we go. I think you guys can see inFlow, right? Okay. So to start off, I wanted to go through the retail mode feature. Now, this feature can be accessed if you go into the main menu, you go to options, and then you go to personal settings. And down here, I've already selected it, but under sales orders without shipping, you would select retail. Basically, what it's going to do is it's going to remove some of the extra steps that you would have with shipping, and you won't even really see those buttons. So it all kind of, it's simplified. It's optimized specifically for those who don't need those extra features. So we're going to save and close. And another thing that we recommend doing is setting up a customer called a retail customer. Because, it does take extra time to add in new customers with each order. So by creating a default retail customer, you'd be able to simplify that process and just assign all your orders to that retail customer. So what we're... Sorry?
Really quickly, do you mind just going over again how to turn on the retail mode? I think,
of course.
I think just the program we're using didn't show that pop-up window. You might have to switch to that pop-up window.
Let me see if I can share the full screen. Sorry. Again, you see our lovely faces. I don't know if this is going to work the way I want it to, but share. Is that okay? Tameem, let me know. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to go again into my main menu, which is the 3 lines at the top. As I think Simon likes to call them the hamburger buns or something. And then if you go into options and personal settings, this little window will pop up. And under sales orders without shipping, you would just select retail. So I'll save and close that. And again, I also went into my customer profile. I've already created a retail customer, but you can create a new one if you haven't done so before. And you would just add in retail customer. Again, I don't want to save it because I already have another one and it probably won't even let me. So we're just going to exit out of that. And but before I actually create a sales order, I want to go back into my options and personal settings and make sure that my default customer is set up as the retail customer. What that will do is that will autofill the customer when I create a new sales order so that it defaults to that retail customer and you don't have to fill in any other details. So what I'm going to do, let me close that up, discard, and we're going to create a sales order. Like I said before, it will auto-populate in the customer field, so that's what it's done. And now I'll be able to select the items that I want to sell. So we'll just stick with 2 for now. So with this, again, we're going to make sure that shipping is not on, and that will remove the tabs at the bottom. I don't know if you guys can see it because Webinar Gym is, I think, blocking that. Okay. I think it's all good now. Yeah. So I've added my items to the sales order. I want to save it. And I have 4 tabs at the bottom. My sales, fulfill, return, and restock tabs. In this case, because I want to, this is happening directly with the customer and this is a quick transaction, we can actually complete and pay the order right away with one button. As you may have noticed before, if you don't have the retail mode setting on, you will have 2 separate buttons, one for fulfilling and one for paying. In this case, it's just one button to simplify the process. So we're going to complete and pay. You've given the customer their items, and now it's telling us how much needs to be paid and how much the customer is paying. So if the customer is paying in cash, and let's say they gave me $30 instead of $20, it will actually tell me how much change I need to give the customer back. But in this case, we'll do 20, and you can choose different payment methods. So if they paid by check, you can put a reference number, so 001, and then you can print the receipt using your standard printer. So you would, if you click on print receipt, it's going to complete. And then if you don't, we can just complete it without it.
It's a little cheat way of a POS system.
Exactly. And you can set up, again, different printers for it, but I think this one uses just the standard 8.5 by 11 size page. So let's see, I'm just going to go into reports now. So let's say at the end of the day, you have, you've processed multiple sales orders and you want to see a report that lists these orders and lists how much was made. You would go into your reports and then sales order summary. So I've selected the invoice date as today. You can do it for the entire week, but this is more of an end of day report that I'm showing right now. And what it will do is it will show you all the orders that were placed today, the customer details, the amount, if there's taxes, it will show that. I do apologize. My internet's a little slow, so generating reports is a bit slow for me, but it will give you quite a lot of information. What you can do is in the columns, you can select additional columns that you want to add if you have that information, or you can actually show less. So because I didn't have shipping, I don't want freight, yeah, I don't want that one, but we can generate another report without those columns. You can, again, customize a little bit. We do have another webinar that I can't remember. I think it might have been Phil that was that presented all this and explained reporting and how to customize it. You can watch that on our webinar page. And then
I'll link that to you guys as well. I'm just going to link that right now into the chat.
Yeah, Tameem is gonna assist me with everything pretty much. She is fantastic. And then we can also do the customer payment details report. And on this report, let me just do again, payment date today. This report will show us how the customer has paid. So if they've paid by cash, check, credit, it will give me that information right here. So again, some of these I haven't filled out, But the retail customers, I filled out cash, check, it's listed in there. And again, if I want more, I believe we can add in more columns. If there was a reference number, for example, for my checks, I can add that in this report as well. So quite useful. One last thing that I did want to mention that I forgot to mention earlier is when you're processing these sales orders, the retail mode, it does speed things up. But if you want to make it even more efficient, if you do have a barcode scanner, you can actually scan your items into the sales order. And that would just, again, make it even faster for you to process the transaction with your customers. I unfortunately don't have my scanner on me right now, so I won't be able to show it. But it's quite simple. You know, you would open up the sales order, you'd click in the line, and you would scan your items in here. Or you could also do it using the mobile app. You can scan the barcodes into a sales order on your phone. So pretty great. Definitely helps speed things up. Now, I'm going to turn off the retail mode.
Quick question before we go to the next section. We have a question from Roger. Can you print to PDF or email it to them?
You can email it to them.
I think this was in reference to the receipt, the receipt section.
Yes. Let me actually.
So the answer is yes. Let me just give a quick demo on that.
Let me go back, and we can go into email. And it automatically defaults to receipt because we've completed and paid the sales order. So I haven't added my logo or anything, but you can email the sales receipt to the customer, and you can also save it for yourself as a PDF. I don't know. I hope that answered the question.
All right, Roger, let us know if you needed any more details, but the answer is yes. And another question from Roger as well. Do you have a webinar on the mobile app scanner? Yes. Yes, we do. It was 2 weeks ago, and it was a doozy. It was like an hour and a half because there was that much information. So we have the link. Again, I just linked the web page for the webinars, the landing page, on inFlowinventory.com/webinar-series below. So if you go there, you'll see all of our past webinars. We just started them this year, so there's only a handful for now. But the most previous one was about the mobile app, and it goes quite detailed into what you can do. And then Katia today will also give a light touch on it as well. So definitely check it out.
Yeah, and I love using the mobile app. I personally think it has the main features you really need when processing these transactions. And I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm on my phone a lot, but I find it quite easy to use.
Yeah.
So now moving on to, if you're receiving orders, so you're placing a purchase order for your stores and you're buying these goods from your vendor, I want to firstly actually turn off my retail mode and go back to my standard, save and close, and I'm going to go into a brand new purchase order. So it's defaulted to the last vendor that I've ordered from, which is vendor A. And I'm going to order just a few different items: peach marmalade, orange marmalade, marinara sauce. You'll see why some of these items are in here later on with some more scenarios, not just random. But I've also set my reorder quantity to 10. So it auto-fills the quantity for me. But let's say, you want to order more, you can manually go in and change that to 20. Some of my prices I haven't actually set, but you can see for orange marmalade, I did have it set. So it will default. Anytime you see this little button, like this little arrow button, I guess, if you click on that, it will save it to your item page. So it will save it to the item page here. Sometimes you'll see it next to the vendor or the customer. It will save it to the vendor page and the customer page under those specific ones. So here I'm just saving my unit price. I want to save that again. So I'm sending out this order to my vendor. I'm going to email it to them. And I'm sending him this purchase order. I'm saying these are the items I want. And they'll be able to see how much you want of each item. In this case, again, peach marmalade, orange marmalade, and marinara sauce. So I would email it, and I can change the message here. If it was, hi, Adam, whatever it may be, you can change it in there. You can add a CC, BCC, and change the subject. So it's pretty customizable within the email itself. Now, Adam is sending me these items. They come in 2 boxes. I received the first box today. So I'm going to go in and I'm actually going to receive these items. So in my first box, I have my peach marmalade and orange marmalade. There's 2 ways you can receive these items. The fastest way is by clicking on this little circle on the left and clicking receive. The other way that you can do it is on the receive tab. I'm actually going to just select orange marmalade, or if they all came at once, you can autofill. Because my default location is set up as the main warehouse, it will autofill with that, and then the receive date as today. So I can see save that I've received the first 2 products, but not the marinara sauce, and that can come in at a different date. So I can put in marinara, or actually I can even autofill. And if I wanted to change the date, I can change it to, let's do even yesterday. So I can see that my items have been received that way. Now, let's say I've put my items away and now I realize actually one of the peach marmalade jars is damaged. So I want to send it back to Adam and I want to get a return. So I'm going to go into my return tab and I'm going to select that peach marmalade. Only 1 jar was damaged, so that's perfect. My quantity is set as 1. I'm returning it today, and then the unit price is $5, so I'd be getting $5 back, or that's being deducted from the actual purchase order. So you'll see it's $195 instead of $200. And we're also going to unstock it, which means because we've already received it, we want to make sure it deducts one of the peach marmalades from our inventory. So we're going to unstock, and then we can pay the rest. We can then also send this back to Adam. We can send a purchase return document, and we can send him an email saying, hey, you know, one of the peach marmalades was damaged, so that can be part of the return. Again,
and just a little I don't know if you guys noticed, but when Katia was hovering over the unstock button, it actually shows you the description of, you know, if you press this button, this is what's going to happen. So if you're ever in doubt, just hover over some of the buttons a little bit, and chances are 95% of our buttons will tell you what they actually do. So you don't have to think too much about it. Just a little.
Yeah, I'll try to do that more as well, as just to, so you can hover over even paid, the total amount you've paid. You can click into paid. So anytime it underlines the word, that means you can click into it and you can see how it was paid. If you wanted to add your method of payment, you can add it in there with the reference number remarks. Or if you made your payment in multiple installments, you can have them jotted down in here as well.
Awesome. And we do have a question from Sarah. Mm-hmm. Sarah, how do you set the auto quantity? So that's a great question.
That's a fantastic question.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back to my peach marmalade and I'm going to go into the item page. So there's 2 ways you can get to it. From my purchase order, I can click directly into the item and click view, or I can click into the main menu, go into my inventory, or I can, if I'm on the home page, I can click into inventory like that. So multiple ways. I just wanted to show how to get there. So let me close the other one. So my peach marmalade, this is my item page for it. I have my cost, I have my price for it, I have my quantity levels. But if I go into my extra info tab, I'll be able to see my reorder point and reorder quantity. So my reorder point is telling the system at what point do I want the system to notify me that I am low on stock. And so the system will tell you once it goes below your reorder point. So if I have a reorder point, if it was 5, I'll be notified once it reaches 4. And then with the reorder quantity, that's what's going to autofill into your purchase orders. So you can select that in there, and it's going to know that you usually order in quantities of 10.
So a lot of, this is probably one of the most underused, not underused, undervalued parts of inFlow. Like, I think this is one of the coolest things is the reorder information on everything, because then, you know, inFlow is set up that you can set how many notifications you want. I want a weekly notification to tell me what I'm out of stock, so I can just make reordering easy. And we even have our own screen. I don't know if you have 5 seconds just to show the reorder stock screen, because I think it's pretty cool.
I don't have anything because I'm not low in stock, but
fair. You can always go to the reorder stock screen, and, you know, in a real scenario, this will actually populate with anything that you're low on stock and that you should reorder. And then you can do a one-click reorder, kind of easy peasy stuff down there, and it'll create all your purchase orders for you. so you don't have to think about it. So it really streamlines the whole process in that regard. So.
No, definitely very useful. I just reordered everything beforehand because I didn't want to go into some extra steps. But yes, usually you can see if it's below the reorder point, it would show up on the reorder stock screen. Super useful, super handy. But I'll show another way that you can also reorder stock a little bit later. Just some quick tricks. So I hope that answered your question for the reorder quantity.
Well, and Simon also linked an article that talks a little bit more about it as well. So for anybody who's interested, check that out.
Cool. So also, I forgot to mention, when you're receiving your items, once they've been received, we'd recommend, if you have a barcode printer or any kind of label printer, to label your items, and then you'd be able to put it away or have your staff put it away. One cool thing is you can have them print out the receiving note, and the receiving note will tell you where the items need to go. So if you have a specific location that you need these items to go away to, or have a sub-location, which lists a shelf space, you can have this on the receiving note, and they'll be able to put all your items away in the correct place so that you know where everything's located. So I think that's pretty cool. Okay, let's move on. I think my next one is a slide. Okay, or actually, no, not yet. Before I go back to slides.
We do have one more question from Paul pertaining to vendor management, essentially. But can you explain how to best manage the way the vendor sells, like box quantity, but I sell it individually? So I guess
unit of measurement.
I think so. Paul, is it like receiving 10 items in one box from your vendor, but then having you sell each item individually? I believe that's.
So what I can do, let me actually adjust, I guess, even the peach marmalade. Let me go back to, I think this is the correct one. So if I go into my unit of measure, this is where I'm telling inFlow how I want it to track my stock, how my stock is coming in, like the quantities and the units that my stock is coming in from my purchase order, and then how I'm also selling it. So in your case, let's say when I order my peach marmalade jars, they come in jars, which is why I have it set up as each. But when I purchase it from my vendor, I might be ordering a pack of 10 jars at once. So I can go into my purchasing unit of measure and we can select pack. Another cool thing that some people might not know is that you can actually type in the unit of measure that you want. So in this case, for example, I can type in jars and it's going to save. You don't have to use the ones that we've pre-populated. You can type in your own if that makes it easier for you to keep track. But I'm going to switch it back to each because I like to be consistent and all my other ones are set up that way. But for your purchasing unit of measure, if you're selling or if you're buying it in packs, I'm going to tell the system how the packs are set up. So one pack means I'm going to have 10 jars in it. So let me save that. And let me buy this product again. So that was a quick way. I don't know if you guys noticed. If you need to buy an item, you can be on the item page and click buy or sell, and that will take you to either a purchase order or a sales order. I find that's pretty efficient. So now my peach marmalade is on my purchase order from vendor A, and you can see that I have it set up in packs. So before I complete this, I kind of want to show the quantity that I had beforehand. So I had 28, and now if I buy one pack, which should be 10 jars, let me just double check. Yeah, one pack, 10 jars. I'm going to save that. My unit price would need to be changed because I've set it up originally as being $5 each. So this is where you'd have to make sure your unit price coincides with how you're purchasing your products. So in this case, I want to change it to 50. I'm going to save it. And now when I fulfill, and let me just pay it off because I like to clear it off. I want to refresh my peach marmalade, and you'll see I now have 38. So I ordered one pack, and that was an extra 10. So my quantity changed from 28 to 38. And it's still stored as individual jars, so 38 each. even though I bought it in the packs. Does that clarify things up? I hope so.
Yeah,
let me know if you need any more details, or I know we have an article on units of measure as well that we can send out.
Nuria's linked it as well in the chat for anybody in there.
On top of it. Perfect. Okay. So now we're going to move on to pick, pack, and ship. So this is great for those who, they get orders from their customers and then they need to ship it out and they want an efficient process where they can keep track of everything. It's also useful for those who have their items in a different warehouse and they might be working out of the office. So it's just a way for all of your team to kind of know what's going on and what people's responsibilities are. So I'm going to close all of this up.
So I just also put out a poll there of just getting a gauge if everyone undergoes a pick, pack, ship process. So 80% say yes, 0% say no, and 20% say what's pick, pack, ship. Fair.
Okay, good to know. Pick, pack, ship is very much like the name itself. So you're picking your items, you're packing your items into the boxes or however they're being transported, and then you're shipping them out. It just means that on our sales order, we're going to have the process in the tabs. So let me open up a new sales order. And again, we want to make sure that we have shipping selected. You will see sales tab, which is our general sales order. Pick. Pack would be with shipping. So pack and ship is kind of one. And then we have a return and restock options. So let me, yep, sorry.
Just to add a little bit more color to that as well, pick, pack, ship, probably most likely in a bit more of larger warehouse type retail places where you might have a different person, accepting a customer's order, and then you might send that order to the warehouse, and the warehouse team goes into the shelves or the storage units and kind of picks everything from the shelf for that order. And then you might even have a different team who puts that order together and ships it out. So it's typically you might see in a bit more of a larger warehouse business with a larger warehouse setup typically. But that's just to give some color to those who are new to pick, pack, ship.
No, and thank you, Tameem. You're 100% right. And it helps everyone stay organized, know what's going on with the order, and making sure that, we're minimizing the mistakes and errors that can happen. So in this case, I want to create an order. We'll do that peach marmalade that we just placed a purchase order for. We're going to do a few different items, and I'm going to save this here. So now that we have this order, I want to send it to my team to make sure that they pick it. So I can email my pick list, which is going to have the list of items and the location where they're being stored. So my team can go and pick these items so that they can be ready for the next phase, which would be for packing. So once that's done, once they've picked all these items, they can go into the pick tab, and they can either autofill if they've picked everything, or they can manually go in and do each one. The great thing about inFlow is, again, that we have it on our desktop app, web app, and mobile app. Mobile being very huge for the pick, pack, ship, because if your workers have their phone on them and they have the inFlow app, they would be able to do this all on the phone. And they'd be able to even scan in the products, and that would save some time for them as well. So we have the items picked, which means that they're ready to be packed. So for the next step, it would be this shipping option. We're going to, again, print out now a packing slip that we're going to include in the boxes that we send out. So we're going to select that. Again, sorry, my internet is very slow. And then once we print out the packing slip, and we have all our items in there, we're going to go into the ship tab, again, autofill, and it's actually going to give me an option for a box number. So let's say I'm sending my peach marmalade and orange marmalade in box number 1, and I actually want my marinara sauce to be in a separate box. I can save it that way, and it's going to be shipped out differently. we're going to click ship as well because I've changed the box. And then if you want to add in extra shipping details, this is where you're going to have your ship date. If you want to add your carrier, your tracking number, you can do that in here. And if you have any additional remarks, you can also add them as well. So again, that's just the shipping details here under the remarks. And again, if I hover over it, you'll see it gives me a little description of what you can do. Okay. Now this order is complete, so I want to just save it, and I can mark as invoiced, or I can send the invoice and then mark paid. Okay, so that's most of the pick, pack, ship. Any questions?
We do have a few questions. So one from Khan is there a way we can add pictures on inbound and sales list? And can a pick list have pictures?
I don't think we can. I'm not sure if that's one of our custom documents. I don't believe we have that option yet. Yeah, I know we're hoping for it. I know I've definitely put it down as a request.
Not right there, but that's one of the benefits of using the mobile app. Actually, is you don't even need to print it. So if you have the app on your phone, you can actually just use it to pick. You just won't need to print. So it's all there for you in the pictures. If you have pictures loaded, will pop up there. So that's one of the benefits. Let us know if that's what you were. What question? If that was the question you had, because I know there was also a question on adding it for inbound sales list. I'm not sure where that means.
I'm guessing in the purchase order.
And
maybe, but
potentially.
Again, that's something that you could see on the mobile app as well. I haven't uploaded pictures for any of these products, wish I did, so we could show it on the mobile app later. But it is possible, and it does make it very easy when you could just see the image on your phone and you can compare the two.
Awesome. And we do have a follow-up question from Roger pertaining to the unit of measures.
Yep.
So just clarifying, says, okay, if you set it up, will it divide the price by 10 so it leaves the unit cost accurate? And Nuria's responded in the chat, but just maybe flip back to one of the product pages and we can show you what happens there.
Yeah, let me just, so I actually had to manually go into the peach marmalade. Was it the peach marmalade? I can't remember which one I changed.
Yeah.
And I changed the cost in the actual purchase order. In this, you can see all my purchase orders that I've had and all the costs that I've had for it. So which one's the most recent one? I think it was this one. Yeah, $50. So I changed it manually, but what I have set up right now is my moving average costing method. So it will take the average of all the costs from my purchase orders based on the amount of items I've ordered. So that's why right now it shows up as the $3.85. You can have it set up as the manual costing method as well if your prices and costs don't change very often. But with regards to the unit of measure, this would be the cost for your purchasing unit of measure. So if you're buying it in packs, you're gonna want to put the cost of the pack here. Does that clarify things?
I think that I hope it does. Roger, let us know. And then kind of on the flip side in the sales, if you're extra info tab and you have your sales unit of measure as each or jar, then that means when you go back to your product info tab, that normal price is set to match that. So that's the price per jar. Yeah. So they just kind of both match.
So what you can do, let me just, I wanted to quickly, this is going to work the way I want it to work. Let me buy it. And again, I buy it, I don't think it's saved. Let's save. I might have also set the unit price for my vendor as $5. I think that was the default price for that specific vendor. But if I didn't have any default, I'd have it here. So I'd save it for the vendor. And in this case, I believe if you go to each, it will divide the unit price by the amount. So in this case, if you usually buy in packs, but now you want to buy it in individual items, it's going to divide the unit price by the items in your pack. So I think that might be kind of helpful. Okay. And then what else did I want to show?
We do have one more question from Kimberly. Is there a way to suggest the number of boxes needed based on the volume of the products that will be shipped? I don't think we don't.
I don't think we can do that, can we?
Yeah,
that's a good question.
Yeah, I don't think we're set up for that quite yet. That would be a really cool algorithm to have. But unfortunately, we won't have. The only thing that we can suggest, that inFlow will suggest, is how much to reorder, but it won't tell you how to pack them in different boxes.
Yeah. No, but that would be cool, and something definitely want to note down and share with the rest of the team later. But thank you. No, thank you for the suggestion.
Yeah. So I think...
Any more questions?
I think we're good to move on, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I also wanted to do a return on my sales order. So this is the sales order that we just last did, and I want to return a peach marmalade. So customer's unhappy with it, or maybe they made a mistake. They didn't want the peach marmalade and they accidentally ordered it. I'm going to now add the peach marmalade to my return tab, select the date, or it will autofill the date, make sure that everything looks good, and this would just tell me that, you know, we owe the customer $10. So I'm going to save that, and you can see that it's in brackets, meaning that we owe them. You'll also see it updated in the sales order as a little red circle. You can either restock by clicking on the restock screen, or you can click on the circle here and select restocked and then save. Now you have two options. You can refund the customer directly, like right away, or you can issue them a credit. So I'm going to issue the credit for this customer. And again, this is just a retail customer. We could have selected anyone else. And I'm going to go into the customer profile just to see that, yes, indeed, we have a $10 credit for them. So let's say I want to, or this customer wanted to buy something else. So we're going to create a new sales order, and they actually want another orange marmalade. It's the same price. We're going to save it. I'm just going to fulfill it. And you'll get the option now to apply credit. So it's going to apply the $10 credit, and you're going to see the credit that they had and how much your balance is. So the customer wouldn't owe us anything because they've used the credit that they had on file. So, okay. So now it's complete. Any questions on that?
So far, no questions. There is a question from Roger. Curious how other people use the system to track serial numbers. There's the serial number box add-on, but a lot of work to enter in 50 to 60 serial numbers. I usually have them in an Excel list and copy and paste. If now's not the right time, that's fine. Roger, good question. One thing, we're going to let that one sit and see if anybody has their hacks amongst the group. Feel free to reply to Roger. And also, Roger, you can also post in our Facebook community page. It's intended for other, you know, to see how other people do things and maybe learn best practices. But I'd also encourage you to post that there. And then the team can also get back to you after this, but we'll let it sit there. If anybody does have an answer for Roger, feel free to drop them a line in chats, and we'll get back to you at the end of the webinar, Roger.
Cool. I'm going to keep going now. So we finished these sales orders. I now want to move on to curbside picking. So let me just open back my slides. So curbside picking. As everyone knows, you know, we have this interesting time right now where social distancing is a thing, and we're trying to eliminate our contact with as many people as we can. Now, this is changing the way businesses have to operate, especially brick and mortar stores, to the point where they're offering either curbside pickup or they're offering in-store pickup, where they come in and the order's already fulfilled for them and they just come and pick it up. So right now, I just wanted to cover some of the ways that you can do it. So there's really two ways that you can manage your curbside pickup. One way is with a staging area. So by having a staging area, it allows you to bring all the orders or the items that you need for your orders to the staging area so that it's all there for you, and it actually speeds up the process, especially when customers are coming in. Without a staging area, it's kind of the usual way you would do anything. So you would, you know, wait for the customer to come in, go to the back, grab the items, fulfill them, and then give it to the customer. So with the staging area, it just has everything in one place, and it's a little bit easier to manage. So the two big benefits is that it gives your team an idea of how many orders are actually ready for customers. And the second one is that it'll speed up the order processing because you won't have to assemble orders as each customer arrives. So you'll have everything in just one place with the staging area. So let's see how it looks within inFlow. So let me also just make sure, I think I still have some of my retail mode settings on. So I'm gonna, remove my retail customer there so we can have different customers. And I am going to, with the curbside pickup, I wanna make sure, again, shipping is on. So let me create a new order. We have shipping activated so that you can see this pick tab because that will be necessary for the curbside picking. And then the second step that we're going to have is kind of optional, but it is quite helpful. And that's to have one of your users named as curbside pickup. So users as in one of your team members on the account, have them named as curbside pickup because that will allow you to assign all the orders that are curbside to that specific account, and it'll be easier to find those orders, especially if you're still doing your regular orders for customers. So you can then split those two up. So in this case, I'm gonna assign it to curbside pickup. We have, let's choose Chris. Chris is has placed an order, and Chris wants some blueberry jam and maybe some, let's see, what else do we have? Strawberry jam. So we'll have those two items for Chris. Now, I'm going to save this order. My team will know that for Chris's order, he needs these two items. So they're going to go ahead and pick these items. So what picking will do, they'll pick the items from the warehouse or wherever the items are located, and they'll bring them into the staging area ready for Chris to be able to pick them up. So we'll know that as soon as it's in the pick tab, those items are already in the staging area. It will also deduct the inventory at this point here. So we're going to save it like that. And then now Chris comes into the store and wants to pick up his order. We're just going to, again, autofill in the ship tab, and we're going to save it again. So now Chris has picked up the order. He's also paid it directly with us. And it's simplified the process a little bit because you know where the items are. And again, it's kind of similar to pick, pack, ship, but this is if someone's coming into the store. So this is very useful for brick and mortar stores. And again, now with COVID, it just simplifies things and lets you know where all your items are. You can do this again with your mobile app. You can do the same thing where you can assign it to curbside pickup, put in your sales information, pick it, and then move it to shipping once the customer has actually picked it up. Now, if you have multiple orders in, in your order list, you can find the curbside pickup by filtering it to that, and you can see I have 2 orders for curbside pickup. So that will separate it from all your other orders that you may have and that you process in the standard workflow.
Awesome. And just so if for those who've been around with inFlow for a while, you'll notice the assign to feature is new. I think it's only a few weeks old.
Yep.
Pretty cool feature. We've talked about it on our Facebook Live sessions as well, but just something new that's just come out, so that's exciting.
Yep. And so not just the sales orders, but the purchase orders. I don't know if I have a purchase order tab open, but on the purchase orders, you can do that as well. You can assign to, and it doesn't have to be to curbside pickup. If you want to assign it to your team members, you can do that as well. So your team knows who's working on that sales order or purchase order or even work orders. So pretty cool feature that we added. Yeah. Okay, so let me just, again, I'm gonna close all my tabs up so we can start fresh for the next section. So the next topic that we're covering is e-commerce stores. Right now, inFlow integrates with Shopify, Amazon, WooCommerce, and Squarespace. And then, yay, we have our public API. That's brand new. I think we released it last week. So what the public API will allow you to do is if you have a developer or someone with the IT knowledge, they can build the integration with a different platform that we don't already have an integration for. We do have a spec sheet on our website. I think Tameem might be able to link it in the chat in case you guys are interested, or just email us if you have any questions, and we'll be able to answer that. So super cool. I know a lot of people have been waiting for that, and that's going to simplify a lot of your lives if you're working with other platforms that we don't integrate with. Okay. Now, Tameem, are we doing a poll?
Yes, I've already
Okay.
administered the poll. How do you primarily sell online? So far, Shopify's got 33%, 50% are on other platforms, and then we've got WooCommerce at 14%. So a bit of a mixed bag. So for those on other platforms, please just in the chat let us know which ones you're using, just so we know, so we can take that feedback to the team.
Yeah, no, that's good to know, and maybe the public API would be useful for that as well. If you're working on other platforms and that's something you're interested in, let us know. And then it's great that Shopify is the big one because that's the one I was planning on showing. So let me just make sure you guys can still see my screen, right?
Yeah, you see the slides. Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Can you still? Yeah. Okay. So to set up my integration with one of those platforms, specifically Shopify in this case, I'm going to go to app.inflowinventory.com, which is our web app, and I'm going to go into the settings on the right, click into account/team, and then click into integrations. So I'm going to dismiss all of that. Some of those were my syncing errors from earlier. Now, for Shopify, I'm going to click into edit. I've already set up my Shopify store, but if you were to do it from scratch, you would put in your Shopify URL here, and then you'd click connect, and it would take you to the settings page, which I'm going to show you right now. It'll take you to this settings page. Here, you are going to tell Shopify and inFlow how you want the two to sync up. So I've set it up so that my Shopify item name gets brought into inFlow, and that's how it links the product within both programs and within the order. I've set up some basic location. I've how I want it to sync. You can have it sync always. You can have it sync from a certain date. And then this is a big one. I like this a lot. And that's to add a prefix to your order numbers. So if you're using different platforms to sell your products, this will help you out a lot to tell you where this order is coming from. So right now I've set it up to show Shopify and then a little dash, and then it's going to show my order number. Then going all the way down, I've also set up my orders to come in as open, which means I'll be manually fulfilling them. But I can also have them come in as completed, which will deduct the inventory as soon as your order comes into inFlow. So if you need to speed up your process and you prefer that it deducts all the inventory right away, you can do that as well. And then again, the smaller things, I can have my item description come from Shopify or inFlow, and then my customer name be set by either the company name, customer email, or customer name and email. So I'm going to just save and exit here. And we're going to place an order on Shopify and see how it looks in inFlow. So I'm going to go in here. Again, don't judge. This is our testing site. We have the most random items here. But we're going to go and we're going to order some pesto sauce. Now, I haven't set this up completely, but you can add, again, the image. You can add in your price, and that will bring it into inFlow. The price, at least, not the, I think the image will, you'd have to still import it in inFlow. But I'm going to add this to cart, and then I'm going to process my order. So this is what your customer would do if they're buying an item from your Shopify store or from any other platform. You know, they're processing their information in here. So this is where it's also going to pull the customer name. So I'm just going to put my name, test. I'm going to put in some address, Young Street, and it's going to fill it in for me. And it'll also pull in this address. So I'll pull in the customer name, the address, and my email address all into inFlow. So you'll be able to see it there, and you can actually email your customer their invoice or their receipt afterwards as well from inFlow. So let me just put in Bogus Gateway. I always love filling this stuff in. Just makes me laugh. So we process the payment, and then it's going to say successful. Sometimes the sync will take a few minutes to pop up into inFlow. I actually did one a little bit earlier today, so we wouldn't have to wait for one. But once it actually syncs in, you'll see, where is my order list? What just happened? Give me a second. Sales order list. Okay, refresh. There we go. Okay, perfect. So I should be able to see my Shopify. It actually came in, so that took a few minutes. That's why I was loading. So I have one from earlier today, and then I have the one that I just processed right now. So I'm glad that it didn't take that long. And now I'll see that, again, it's an open order. So that means my item isn't fulfilled right away. I'm going to have to fulfill it. You can also see that it's auto-populated all of my customer information. And so here I'm going to fulfill. I can even ship it right away. So let's say I did the whole process at once. And I'm going to save that. And then I'd be able to print or email, actually I should have said email, email the receipt to the customer, or just so that they know that it's been processed. So if that were to load, you could then email to the customer, add in whatever emails you want, or you could BCC it or CC it to anyone from your team so that they're aware that the order has been completed. So that's one way. And again, you'll see that it comes in as Shopify, and then I have my order number. So in Shopify, it's set up as inFlow Shop and then the order. Another cool thing is, let's say you don't have or you don't sell on any of these platforms, but you want to sell using inFlow. Let me just make sure I open up the right page. Yeah, so I can close this up. So we have the option to sell using inFlow, using our showroom. On the showroom, you can show all your products to your customers. You can send direct links to them and set up their access. So if you only want a customer to see particular items, you can have that set up. So I just want to go through it quickly. So edit settings in the general showroom settings will change the settings for anyone that comes in, unless they're specified down below and they have their own settings. So in here, I can go to all my products. And in this case, I do want all my products to show up. If I have a different pricing or currency for my customers, you can change that in here. You can exclude items when they're out of stock, and then you can kind of choose which information shows up. If you had custom fields that you've added to your custom page, you can select them here, and you can have them show up in the showroom as well. So I'm going to cancel that. And in this case, I'm going to edit access for a specific user. So I can have it either match my general settings, or if I toggle that off, I can select only particular items or particular information for the customer. Let me just make sure. So I have 3 products selected. And here I want to only show, again, I don't have descriptions for it because I did a quick setup, but if I wanted to not have my description or category show up, I could choose that as well. But I'm going to keep those in there. And then I've already opened up the showroom in a different tab. So I just want to see if I can refresh this. Yeah. So because I've changed my settings for that individual user, I've logged in as that user, and I can only see the gems because that's what's been restricted for me. So I can go into the actual item, add to order, and then in here, I'm going to continue. And again, Katia test. And I believe I should be able to place the order without all this information.
So we've got a question from Lee. Hi, could we build a category of products just for online/Shopify that is set within our inventory? So actually kind of, at least for the inFlow part, like what Katia's showing you now, is you can create your own URL or your own showroom link for a specific category that you have set up in inFlow. So you can do that. On the Shopify front, I don't know if that's possible quite yet to limit certain categories that you can set, but our online showroom you can. So we're kind of like the B2B version of Shopify, or in a way. So there is that flexibility on our end. Shopify, I don't think you can create different custom URLs and landing pages for people quite yet. So just letting you know, since we're on the showroom section.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you for answering that. And Tameem, I did actually have a question. Do you know which details I actually have to fill out to make sure this order goes through? I don't know if the address is mandatory.
No, it might have to be all. It might have to be all. But as you fill that up, we got another question from Joanne. Can you set up showroom by location yet? So currently, that we can't do that. But we are, if you haven't heard, we are about to release a new feature called inFlow Pay on Showroom. So you'll be able to accept payment online through Showroom. And we will be rolling out some new changes to Showroom in general, not to do with the payment piece, but we'll be introducing it all. So definitely catch our next webinar. That's going to be in 2 weeks, because that's going to be pretty much showcasing the updates of Showroom and showcasing inFlow Pay. TBD on if location, setting up by location a showroom is going to be part of that release. But I'm going to investigate, and I'll let you know after if it's expected to be part of that, because there will be a few updates to Showroom. So I really encourage everybody to sign up for that next webinar.
And also, I think I'm just having technical difficulties within Showroom. As always, I knew something was gonna happen, but it's okay. So basically what would happen is once the customer places the order, it would come into your sales order list, similar to the Shopify one, but the one coming from Showroom would come in looking like the SO, like the actual prefix would match the one that's in the system. So that's how you would know which ones are from inFlow and then which ones are coming from other platforms. Yeah, sorry I wasn't able to show that in more detail. I don't know what's going on. I also think my internet is just completely lagging. But yeah, that's just the magic of Showroom. You can, like Tameem mentioned, you can kind of set up different shops for different people, and that can be quite useful if you're selling, different category of items to your customers. Now, moving on.
I think, sorry, just to interrupt. Yep. I think just because we're already past the hour mark, so we might want to go straight into the mobile on-the-go selling, because I think that's the majority of what people are doing based on our poll.
Yep, of course.
So the audience, we'll get to that part now, because I know we're past the hour. So thanks for waiting.
Thank you, Tameem, for mentioning that.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, so on the road. So if you're selling on the road, I've kind of come up with a scenario. So in my scenario, my business sells artisanal jams at trade shows and farmers markets around the country. Our inventory is mostly stored at our main warehouse in Toronto, but my sales reps will take some supply with them on the road. They will sell directly to the customers at these shows/markets. If they run out of stock, they can still place orders, but the items will then be shipped to the customers. How could I keep track of all these all of this moving inventory in inFlow? So I've actually done a few onboarding sessions with similar cases, and it's a fairly easy workflow itself, but it does require some workarounds. So let me go back to my homepage. And one thing I want to make sure is, because some of my items are going to be traveling with my sales reps, I'm going to want to set up my sales reps as locations within inFlow. So if I go back to main menu, options, and then my settings, and I go into manage inventory locations, I've already set up 3 of my sales reps, Jane, Jerry, and John. Those are my sales reps that are going to be traveling to these different trade shows, and they're going to be the ones selling the products. But to do this, I'm going to have to transfer my inventory from my main warehouse to my sales reps as they take it with them. So I'm going to do a transfer stock. So I'm going to go into my inventory and my transfer stock screen. Now this is, we're going to show this how to do this on the mobile app, because if you're on the go, you definitely want to be using the mobile app to its fullest advantage, and it definitely speeds things up. So in this case, I'm going to just do my jams. Where's my, I did raspberry, strawberry, and blueberry. Okay. And now I'm going to, it's going to go from my main location or my main warehouse, and I'm going to have it go to Jane. Another cool trick is if you right click into a field that you've already filled out, you can fill down, and it's just going to fill down the name or whatever it may be all the way into all the other cells. So we're going to save that. Now, there's a reason for there being a few buttons here. So sending transfer is if you're transferring between locations or warehouses, it would take time for you to send the transfer and then receive the transfer. In this case, since we're doing it locally, again, we can just automatically go to receive transfer, and that will save us one extra step. And I, again, just want to save it here. And then Jane is going to go on the road, and you know, she's at the Calgary Stampede or the C&E or at a farmer's market, and she wants to sell to a bunch of different customers. She might not want to fill out a customer name each time. So we've also created a customer for trade show / market. This will fill it in for her. I've set the sales rep automatically to be John, but we're going to have it be Jane in this case because I was testing it out earlier. So now Jane has a customer come up to her and they want the strawberry jam. So she's going to sell it to them, and it's going to be, again, quite direct. We can remove the shipping in this case, and we can just save, fulfill, and mark paid on the spot. In this case, Jane might want to write down how she received the payment. So she would do that by clicking into the little paid section down here. Then, you know, Jane's been doing really well at the trade show, and she actually has run out of inventory. Let's just say hypothetically. So Jane wants to still be able to place the order, but we're going to ship it to the customer that she's spoken with. So we're going to create a new one. And in this case, we're actually going to put the customer details. So we want to make sure that we have their address for ship to. We're going to turn on shipping. And in this case, we're going to set up an order. As you can see, we ran out of stock, but this is something that Jane's team at the main warehouse will be able to see, and they'll be able to start preparing for this order, whether it be ordering more stock or just choosing stock from a different location. So in this case, they would choose from the main warehouse, and we would, there we go. So it's now refreshed. So they're now able to fill the stock because we had it in the main warehouse, and the main warehouse is going to be able to send it out. So we can then, again, fulfill and mark paid, or if she received payment beforehand, she can do that as well. You can also add remarks. So if it was at the Calgary Stampede, you can add that in there, and it just simplifies things a little bit. Now, I kind of want to also show this process on the mobile app, and I think Tameem is going to help me out with it. I don't know if you have it set up, but we're going to do this in workflow.
Yeah, I'm going to turn my screen on. And just because Julie mentioned she was looking forward to the subscription box info, we'll do that after this, the mobile section. So we'll still do it. We just reordered our agenda a little bit. So I'm just
share off. There we go.
Turn mine on. You guys get an inside look at my lovely phone. Okay. So I think that's as best as I can do. Is that big enough, the screen?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm just inside the inFlow app, the mobile app, for those of you who have it. So Katia, you can let me know what you want me to do. I will be the Vanna White. Right? So just let me know.
So Tameem, if you can start off by transferring the stock. We're going to transfer stock from the main warehouse, and we're going to transfer it to John.
So I'm just going to go here to my transfer stock. And we're going to go, so you just choose where you want to go from. So from the main warehouse, and I'm going to send it to John. There you go. So now you can see add items here, and you can see add or scan items. So if we had barcodes set up, we could just scan it and transfer. Don't have them set up for this presentation, but here we go. Is there anything specific I should transfer, or?
Let's do soap. We haven't done soap.
Do some soap.
Let's do 5.
I'm going to go 5 products. You just add it. So you can see it's quite simple. It's very, very simple. So any other ones?
Well, let's just stick with 1 for now. I think it'll.
I'm going to press transfer stock. It gives it a little confirmation. Yes, that's what I want to do. Awesome. And now you get to see the dog. Okay, so it's transferred. Not sure why it kicked me out. Probably some phone issues.
Probably because you're sharing it.
Yeah.
I feel like whenever it's being shared.
There you go. Cool.
Okay.
So that's been transferred.
So now John is going to create a sales order because he's at the C&E and he has a customer that wants
It's
to.
a bit lagging. Perfect. So I'm just going to go to sales order. So it's a bit lagging. I'm guessing all the connections. So I'm just going to create new by pressing the little plus button at the top. And my customer is?
You can do the trade show or the market.
Perfect. So just type that in. Select.
Yeah, it's probably lagging because you're connected.
Cool. So I'm going to add item to C, and then I'll do the lavender soap, I believe. Lavender soap, all set up. I'm going to add.
Okay. And in this case, you could go, I think, into actions, and you can skip the pick, and you can just fulfill it right away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fulfill and
before I do that, I do want to, I know, I just want to show, sorry, before I fulfill that, I got to go from the beginning. Darn. I want to show, because Katia went through the example, if you say you are at the trade show and you don't have it physically on you, but you want the main warehouse to ship it out, especially with the assign to feature, another cool little way to manage that as well is, so for example, here I am, I'm selling to my trade show market person, and I want to send it to somebody. I'd have all their customer details, but you'll see the assign to on the mobile app is right here. So if I actually want to collect the payment at the trade show or at the C&E, which is our fair here in Toronto, you can actually do that and then say, I'm going to assign this back to Katia, who is back at the main warehouse, and she's going to get the order and she's going to fulfill it. So that's another cheat way, really cool new way that you can do that. I won't do it for this case, but I just thought I'd.
We also have two questions. Kimberly was wondering, does the mobile app still work if you temporarily lose internet connectivity? We're often inside of a large refrigerator walk-in with limited Wi-Fi while picking. I do believe, I feel like it might disconnect.
Yeah.
Like it won't save anything. I believe it might not close off the screen, but I don't think you'll be able to make any changes if you don't have the Wi-Fi.
We don't have offline mode quite now. We do have customers, obviously, with that scenario as well. We do just recommend getting data, using data in unstable Wi-Fi zones if you can. We don't have offline mode currently.
And then second question is, can you show us how to do a quote while at the trade show for new customers? So I don't think on the mobile app, can we switch it to quote?
I don't believe we have that functionality quite yet.
Yeah,
so it's just orders. We are pumping out new features all the time. So, you know, it's something that that could come pretty quickly. So we'll definitely leave a comment for the product team on all of that. Right now, I'm just triple checking. I'm pretty sure we can't do that quite yet, so we can't. But we will let the team know.
What you can do is if you add a remark to the sales order, and let's say you still process it as a sales order on your phone right away, once you do have access to a computer, you can actually convert it to a quote. So I know it's an extra step, but in the meantime, while we don't have the feature just yet, you can convert your sales order to a quote on our desktop app. You
can also, so it's not technically a quote right now, but you can email the order. Like you'll notice when you go to actions, so this is just a normal sales invoice, sales order, you can email them the order or share the order. So, I mean, you can send this. It's not technically a quote, but you don't have to fulfill it, I guess, or whatnot. I know it's not quite the same, but we will get there. Quotes will come one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's obviously still a work in progress, but yeah, hopefully one day.
Yeah.
So yeah, now Kevin is able to, or now John is able to sell to Kevin, and then process the order using the app, and he can do it directly. So fulfill and mark paid, and then send a receipt using the email. So that's just a quick way to do it on your phone. Perfect.
Some issues here. Market paid. And so I'm just waiting. There's a bit of a lag I can notice. Okay. Complete payment.
And you can, again, add in your payment method. You add in your payment details. Matt is on here saying yay for mobile.
It's probably our Matt.
I'm almost sure it's our Matt.
Yeah. So then, as Katia said, from there, you again press the actions button and you can email the order or share the order, which is also a new mobile feature, recently newish, maybe past month. So you can do that as well.
Yeah, so features are being added. It's definitely changed a lot, even since when I started 6 months ago. I feel like we've already added a bunch of features. So hopefully it keeps going at this pace and we can get in all the requests that you guys have asked for.
And you'll notice that's why sometimes we're slow to respond. We're like, can it do that? I don't know. Maybe it got released this week. So things get popped out, especially with mobile, all the time. And we've been actually now with our Facebook Lives, we do them, so we alternate Facebook Lives, webinars, Facebook Lives, webinars. We've started to announce some of the new stuff that came out that week too. So if you're ever interested, just tune in. We'll talk about it there, the new stuff.
Perfect. Yeah. Now, I think that's most of the basics. I mean, you can do, again, a purchase order, a sales order on your mobile app. You can do transfer stock. You can do a bunch of different features, and you'll see them in the main menu, again, when you click on the top 3 lines. So you'll see what you can do. You can adjust your vendors and customers, adjust stock, and you can actually, there's a separate little button for picking for your sales orders. So I believe that you can do that all at once then. But yeah, it's just, it's still not exactly perfect because we don't have all the features, but it will get there. We'll get there one day. I'm going to go back to, I guess, the kits and the subscription boxes. So I did want to cover that. But
yeah, I know we're a bit over time. So for those, the last section, as Katia said, is going to be about kits and subscription boxes. I believe that's the last section, right? If I know we're over time. So if anybody, this is a natural time for you to leave, we will not be offended. For those who want to stick around, would love to. Katia will take you through that. And as always, we will be sending out the replay link to everybody who's registered directly. And you can always find it on our webpage, our webinars webpage. And sign up for the next one. It's going to be about showroom. You can catch all of our old ones from there as well.
Yeah, and I believe we're going to have some updates with showroom in the next one, right?
Yeah.
We're going to have some cool things. So let me go back to sharing my screen. Sorry, it's going to be really weird for a second. Okay. I think you guys can see it, right?
Yes.
Okay. So subscription boxes and kits. I find that this is becoming more and more popular, especially the last few years. You'll see Dollar Shave Club where you can get razors. You'll see boxes like FabFitFun where it changes every season. People are really interested. People love, treating themselves and getting little gifts being shipped to their door. So it's become a more popular line of business. And I've created a scenario, again, with my artisanal goods, but my business sells subscription boxes filled with artisanal goods, which customers can receive on a seasonal or annual basis. I assemble these kits in my main warehouse and then ship the products out to the customers. How would I assemble these boxes and sell to my customers? So I'm going to go back to inFlow, and let me close all of this up. And I'm going to go to my inventory and my product list. So I've already created one subscription box. It's my seasonal summer subscription box. But I wanted to create a separate one with you guys. I just kind of wanted to show the layout for this. So it's similar to any other product The biggest difference is that in the bill of materials tab, you will now add your components. So these are the items you are going to put in your box and that you will need to assemble the subscription box. So I'm going to create a new one. We're going to do one for fall. So let me just go back to product info. So fall subscription box. And I have a separate category as well for the fall subscription box, or just for subscription boxes in general. So it separates it from my jams, marmalades, and sauces. And now I just want to save. I like to save a lot in the system. And then we're going to go into my bill of materials. And for fall, I guess I can do again, pesto sauce, some honey soap, and let's see, what else can I do? We'll do my peach marmalade. So to create one subscription box, I'm going to need one of each pesto sauce, honey, soap, and then peach marmalade. You can change these quantities. So if I had 2 pesto sauce jars, I can change that in here. And in this, it's also going to calculate my total cost. So I believe with my peach marmalade, I've changed it when it was originally packs, which is why it's giving me that unit price. But it will depend on the unit price that you have set up. So we're going to save that. And usually with a subscription box, I feel like you know how many you need to assemble at once because you have a certain number of customers. And since they've subscribed, you already know that they're repeat customers. So let's say I know I have 5 customers. Let's just go with a smaller number to make sure I have enough stock right now. 5 customers. So I'm going to need to create 5 boxes. So if I go into my fall subscription box, I'm going to actually change the final good quantity to 5. And then I'm going to recalculate so it tells me how many of each component item I will need. So now instead of 1, I'm going to need 5 to create 5 separate boxes. I'm also going to, add my name in here. You can add the location as to where it's going to. You can have the assign to as well if you want to assign it to a specific user. And then if the order date is different than the finish date, you can either manually input it or once you, let me just complete this, it will automatically add in the finish date. So now I have 5 fall subscription boxes ready to go. So I'm going to create a sales order. But before I do that, actually, I want to go to my customer list. And I've created 2 customers, I believe, that already have the subscription. Yes. So what I've done is I've added a separate custom field to my customer page. So to do that, I would go to main menu, options, settings, and then custom fields. And then I would go to, so my sales tab. And then under that, you'd have your customer, and I've added subscription as a separate custom field. The reason I've done that is so I can have the details as to whether this customer is a seasonal subscriber, so they're going to get a box every season, or if they are an annual subscriber like Chris, who is annual, but annual in the summer. I can also then have that in my search field. So again, I've selected subscription, and I can type in annual. And it's going to show me any customers that have an annual subscription. If I were to be specific, I would only have annual summer if I had a different customer for annual spring. So I can then count how many customers have subscribed for that specific box, and I would know how many boxes I need to create. So going back, we're going to, since it's not Chris's turn, he already got the summer box. Alice gets it seasonally. We're going to sell the subscription box to her. So in this case, we can already mark it paid because they've paid in advance, but I'm just going to search for my fall subscription box. And in this case, I haven't actually set a price, but we're going to just say 50, and we're going to save it here. So this has already deducted all my component items in the work order, and now it's going to deduct the final good. So one fall subscription box. Once I fulfill it, And I believe Alice had a credit because we returned something. So we're going to apply the credit of $10. And now Alice just has to pay the remaining 40. So we can pay remaining 40. So in this case, that's kind of the process for a subscription box. It'd be similar to any kind of kits. You would use your work order to create those kits, but you would have to make sure that all your component items are listed in your bill of materials for the finished good themselves. And I don't know, are there any questions?
Let's see, we haven't had anything come through.
Is anyone still watching?
We do. We've got quite a few people still left in here.
Lovely. So that was pretty much it. I think I covered all the topics. So now is a great time if you do have any questions regarding what we've spoken about, or if you had something that we didn't cover, that we can reach out to you. All good. Harris, thank you.
All right, Harris. All good.
Hi, Penny.
It's perfect timing. All the jam talk has me hungry.
Oh, I'm so hungry.
Yeah.
I'm ready for lunch.
Your business, your artisanal jams.
I wish I could actually create that. I want to do something like that. One of my friends, he's creating his own hot sauces and like pickled goods. Yeah, I think it's cool. Yeah. It would be nice if your demo products had photos on the item page. I am sorry, Larry. Yeah, it would be helpful. I just didn't set them up, but you definitely can add images. So I don't know. I guess I can find one off of Google. Let me just, what was it? Strawberry jam. Jam.
Got a question from Paul. Can we have a field added to the sales order for type of unit sold?
I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that specifically, but you can have any kind of custom field in added to inFlow. Like you can add it to different pages and you can write whatever you want in it. So I can even add a custom field on the product page here. If I wanted to add in a type of unit, you can have that in there. And you can write it in, and you can also then filter it. So if I go into my search list, I can see that my custom field is there, type of unit, and I can search for it. So if I were to have...
Sorry, I have to share your screen if you're...
Oh, am I not sharing?
No.
Oh, no. Sorry. Okay, so I went into, again, I added a custom field down here, and I put in type of unit. I don't know exactly what that would be, but let's say it's just...
I'll actually expand it a little bit. He says he has a roll of rope, but he sells it as feet. So he just wants a reminder for the person selling that it's, I guess, being sold as in feet. So I think the sales order does show you the unit measure, does it not?
The sales order does, but if you did want to add it as an extra precaution, you can add it as a custom field. And then type of unit, search up sold in feet. So you could have that. But in the sales order, it does show, actually give me a second. I don't think I've set up the unit of measure for my fall subscription box. So let me just hide extra info. And I'm just going to go each. Or if I want to sales as packs. Again, if I wanted to change it up, one pack has 5 each, or 2.
Or maybe you can change it to rolls and feet so that...
Sure. Let me do a different product so it makes sense. I guess if we're having like even hose. Let me save that. And so rolls, which one are you selling it? In feet?
Yeah, buys it as a roll. Yeah.
Buys as rolls and then sells as feet and wants to keep track of it as feet.
Yeah.
Okay. So one roll, let's say it's 100 feet. And then when we sell it, it's already going to be stored in feet because I've set my standard unit of measure as feet. So I'm just going to save that. So let me just close all of this. And we're going to, buy it. I'm going to buy 1 roll, or let's do 3 rolls. Save.
So you'll see there, Paul, that when you're purchasing, you see it's in rolls. And then
you can change it. If you wanted to, you could change it to 3 feet. Again, let's say it's just an odd order that you're not doing it in the rolls. But in this case, we're just going to keep it as rolls. And then you'll be able to see, let me again search up. I think I might need to refresh. Oh no, it already updated. So now we have 300 feet. So we bought 3 rolls. Each roll is 100 feet. So now it's showing up as 300 feet. And that's how we're going to sell it too. We're going to sell an individual feet. So we're going to create a sales order. We're going to sell it to Julie. And we can sell to Julie 1 foot individually. Or you can also change it to 1 roll. It's just going to default to whatever you have the unit of measure set to. Does that answer it?
So you'll then also on the sales order, you'll see that it also says feet already built in automatically if that's how you set it up. So we'll hopefully remind whoever's selling it or packaging it to sell it in feet. That's the default.
Yeah, but as mentioned, if you wanted that extra layer of precaution, you wanted to add in the custom field and the type of unit, or you wanted to add in, I guess in the description, you could do that as well, or the extra info in the remarks. It's kind of a lot of places where you can add extra info.
Awesome.
Any other questions? I was going to add this image. I think I already saved it, but let me go to my strawberry jam. Where is it? And then we're going to add image from boom. And there we go. So now we have the image of our strawberry jam in there, so it's easy for us to see the item. Again, this will now show in the mobile app. I don't know if Tameem, if you want to show that, if you want to connect to it again.
So I've disconnected, but we can reconnect.
Let me just share it off.
While I just reconnect, is there any other questions? We're just at the end, so stick around for a few just to make sure nobody else has any other questions. Let's see. Okay.
I'm guessing. Wait, do you have a new joke on your whiteboard? Because you changed it from yesterday.
I've got a new one.
What did one ocean say to the other one? See you later? Is that
no, that's good. That's really good. It is nothing. They just wave to each other.
I like that.
Your one-stop shop for everything inFlow and corny jokes everywhere.
I still like the sushi one from yesterday.
That's a good one. Which one did we put a picture on? Strawberry?
Strawberry. Noria wants some blueberry jam now.
No.
I actually have some strawberry jam. I'm going to have some for lunch.
My image isn't there. Do you want to make sure that you just saved it?
Oh, I might not have saved it. Oops. Good point, Tameem.
Let me know when you saved it. I'll refresh.
I've saved it.
Perfect. There it is. Looks delicious.
Try not to get one with branding. Don't want to get in trouble for anything.
Okay, so any other questions? I'm just going to sell this so you can see how it still shows up in the meantime. We'll just wait and probably sign off in a few minutes if there's no other questions. So just to bring the picture to life in mobile, I guess I will add in strawberry. So there you go. You can see it's all in there.
We can't see your screen.
Oh, I forgot to share this whole time. Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Actually, let me share the actual screen. That might be a bit easier or bigger. Okay, so you didn't see me with the...
But it's still clear that it's on a sales order.
It's on the sales order.
You'd be able to see the item if it has an image.
Yeah.
So it's currently just not something that you can do on the desktop. I know web, you can kind of see it in the product list, but I don't believe you can see it on the sales order either. Hopefully it's something we can do.
From here too, like if you do have your pick, pack, ship process up, You'll notice once you go to the pick button, the images also show up. So it makes it super easy. Take your phone to the warehouse. I'm out. I'm looking for strawberry jam. I know what it looks like. You can just kind of click it along, pick the order. Like I picked that part of the order. Usually the orders are probably going to be a bit bigger than just one item, but to bring it to life.
And it'll probably be a better picture that's, at least shows the item.
Yeah. So there it is. All right.
Any other questions, you guys?
I think we're, so I think we'll just wrap up here. Seems like everybody's good. We will, again, share the replay link, so look out. Watch out for your email inbox. We'll be sending it today when we have that prepared. And then, again, sign up for the next one. It'll be about showroom, so some exciting topics. Oh, we got Kimberly. Thank you very much.
Oh, Tameem froze, I think.
Management for restaurant executive team. Ooh.
That's awesome, very Kimberly.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Martin's great too.
Any way we can help, or if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us, support@inflowinventory.com. If there's anything specific for your industry, for the retail or retail inventory management for the restaurants that we can help with too, we'd love to show you around.
Yeah. And I think that's something we should definitely include in the next one, even just like expiry dates. I was thinking of doing it, but this was already kind of long. Maybe we can do it in the next one. And then Tameem, what's our next webinar? It's in 2 weeks.
It's in 2 weeks, and that's showroom.
Showroom. Oh, right. Yes. Showroom. Yeah. Okay. And that's June 16th?
June 16th, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Come out, you guys, and watch that one too.
Cal says thanks. Have a great week.
Thanks, Cal.
You as well.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Well, I guess we will end it here.
Let me know, because I'm going to... I don't want to click on this too much. Thanks, Sue. We look forward to having you in the next one.
Thanks, Heidi.
Thanks, Penny.
So much support. I love our info fam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Let me know. Can I?
Next time, everybody.
See ya. Have a great day. Bye, Joanne. Thank you. Bye, Con. I don't want to close it on anyone. Bye, Charles. I want to say bye to everyone. Okay. I'm doing it. 3, 2, 1. Bye, guys.